mind's going blank now. What's happening? What? I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. Last night on the television, I was on a telephone rapidly rising and with I don't know. COVID has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's lives reflected in the NHDI. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him in the British season. He'll be gotten engaged of Putin's autocracy. Yeah. NATO's purpose is to defend against aggression. Let me make that near and dear to you that you would like to be able to. Anyway. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? What? I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. I don't think as the idea that political coverage. I want to thank and recognize Dr. John Kingerson. That song. I can't get this to function at all. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? What? I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are you? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Good morning, folks. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you find yourselves around the world. It is January 8th, Wednesday, January 8th. It's Midfolk. It's the middle of the week. Middle of the week. Hump day, as people like to say here in the U.S. Welcome back to the program. It's Chris live in central Pennsylvania with your daily dose, your daily injection. Get the jab against hypocrisy, fake stream media, and all of the nonsense. The propaganda that's out there, we bring you the truth, and nothing but the truth. Well, there you have it. Excuse me. Mustache is not playing nice there. Welcome back to the program. Our music opening up the program brought to you by Giselle singing South Africa, beautiful song. And then, of course, the amazing hit that we have brought to you by the Democrats and Dementia, starring Joe Biden in My Mind's Going Blank. Let's get a quick sound check and see how this is sounding. All right, sounds pretty good. All right, I'm preparing another video, which I'll drop a little bit later on, but I've got this program, and then afterwards we've got Ronaldo Jos, Wednesdays with the Colonel. I'll be on with Ronaldo the first time we've done this since Christmas Day, if I recall correctly. Yeah, he took a little break with family situations in South Africa, so we'll be doing that after this broadcast. But thanks for tuning in. It's always good to see everybody here. Let me see who's in the chat very quickly before we move on. We had a guest yesterday. I don't know if she's going to be back today, but we had President Trump interrupt our broadcast yesterday. Hopefully that won't be the case today. I've got this set for top chat. Let's get on live chat. There we go. All right, before the program started, Tony Nasian from the Oil Sands is here. Tony's back regularly now. We missed him for a long time. Better part of a year, we barely saw Tony. I worried something happened to him, so it's good to see. You know, when I have viewers who are here frequently and comment and participate, then they just disappear, I get concerned because it's not like I have their phone number most times. I can't reach out and say, hey, are you okay? The Right Reverend Rawhide, we thought passed away, and only to find out the guy was still alive. It was good news to find out he was alive, and that I was less than 3 kilometers from where he was at. Didn't find that out till after the fact in the Midlands in the UK. Tony Nage, Dylan Combrick is here. As always, Keith Alderson in from Coventry. Keith, how's it going? Garrett Gillett, Somerset West, Monterey Sibbets in Cape Town. Teresa's here. Hendo is in from the southern part of England, where he is a political refugee. Yeah, Dylan says, yeah, I'm sorry I'm having trouble with Streamlabs too. It's very annoying. For those I mentioned, when I start the program, if I don't click on the things that are video or motion related and start them before I go live, then when I go live, they do this. They do that. I mean, that's something to scare someone with epilepsy away, you know. What I've learned I have to do with Streamlabs is click on it, stop it, then you get a smooth transition. So like if I start something right now that I haven't played already since I've started going live, then it'll act like that. But I don't know what's going on with this program. If I just open it up and don't do that, normally it won't crash. It still say Streamlabs is still uploading images. What images are you uploading? Every image I'm using is already on the server that they have. It's really annoying. I don't know what they did to the software, but they screwed it up. And it's not just that. I mean, the fact I have to unplug this microphone and plug it in with the USB connection every single time. Otherwise, I get tinny sound. Why is that? It doesn't happen when I use Logitech software. It doesn't happen when I use Zoom. It only happens when I use Streamlabs. So it's very annoying. Very annoying. Anyway. All right, Miss Pumbaa's here. Welcome to you. John Huchin in from Arizona. Patrick, welcome to you. Alan Kotza, low IQ. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. You must be a member of the African National Congress. Or the Democrats. Yes. Who else we got in here in the chat? James Bowie, Charles Van Olsen, the voice of reason. Charmaine is back. Charmaine, how you doing there? Heiseman. Okay, I've never tried to pronounce your surname. I tried it that time. It probably doesn't sound right. Yeah, the problem in Afrikaans is, you know, if you spell something hoop, H-O-O-P is hoop in English. Like, you know, hula hoop, a hoop. But in Afrikaans, it's not hoop. It's wope. They pronounce the H like a W. What is wope? What is hope? Well, it's something a lot of people don't have. Yeah, so it gets very confusing, folks. And the G's not pronounced like green. It's not green Rizla, it's Green Rizla. And Gerald Fever subscribed from Facebook. That's odd. It showed me a Facebook subscription. Thank you for that. And or maybe he's on Facebook. I don't know. And Yao Rolo is subscribed on YouTube. Thank you for that earlier. I must have connected it to my Facebook account again, so maybe I can try to live stream on Facebook. Let's see what happens there. Right, but it's so hard to do. Maybe the software can figure it out because I can't figure it out. Christo Els is here, minus 16 in Colorado. That is a little chilly. Minus 16 Fahrenheit is a little bit chilly, but it's not even Canadian chilly, so not bad at all there. So who else we got here? And then it's me again. My mind's going blank. Yep, exactly. It is indeed. People's minds are. And Sedgefield is back down in the garden route of South Africa. Welcome to you. And it's low, but it's not negative territory, says the low IQ. All right. Let's get to the news, folks. Let's get to the news. As I promised, I'll be producing. I've already drafted my notes for my video, and I'll be producing a video on the blue light escort controversy involving John Steenhuisen and the Democratic Alliance. It is a non-story, but I'm going to report on it because the media is distorting things. Hey, there's Shawnee in Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota, the land of the Great Lakes, 10,000 lakes, the land where the brand ruined their reputation. I no longer buy Land Lakes butter because they're racist bastards. They destroyed the image of a beautiful Indian princess maiden who was respected and loved by millions of Americans on their butter. You know, they produce that butter right here in central Pennsylvania, among other places. There's a couple dairies just down the road proudly carry the sign that says Land Lakes. Used to have a lovely Indian maiden with the mountain and the sunshine in the background. She's no longer on there. So screw you, Land of Lakes. Screw all you racist promoters and you carriage destroying bastards. Hope butter is better. Yeah. Build back better butter. We're going to build and bring back better butter under Joe Biden. But my mind's going blank now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's start with that blue light story, which I'm going to detail more in a video, which I'll upload later today. So it'll be on late this evening for South Africans, and hopefully, it'll catch a little bit of fire, but I'm not going to hold my breath because they only catch fire if I get them up earlier. And there's Richard. Welcome, Richard. So, John Steenhuisen's 2.8 million Rand vehicles. Oh, it's so big a deal. It's not. There we go. Steenhuisen's 2.8 million blue light SUVs sparked backlash amid DA's stance on VIP privileges. See, this is a disingenuous, misleading clickbait headline. John Steenhuisen doesn't have those vehicles, Victoria O'Regan. No, he doesn't, Victoria O'Regan. That is, maybe you didn't write that. Maybe your editor. See, I know how this works in the media, folks, because I've been in media. And sometimes your editor writes a headline, not the actual journalist. So maybe Victoria O'Regan is not responsible because the story tends to be more honest as you read the story about what's happening. But the clickbait headline clearly is intended to draw attention and to defame the Democratic Alliance. And for that reason, it shouldn't be up there. So these vehicles are not John Steenhuisen's. John Steenhuisen didn't purchase them. He didn't procure them. And oh, by the way, according to the DA statement, he's not using them. Now, if he does use them after they say they aren't using them, then we have a reason to call out a story on John Steenhuisen and hypocrisy. But right now, there's no evidence of that. So this is a non-story being spread by malicious media who don't deserve to be journalists and don't deserve to be media houses. This is shameful. Meanwhile, I have just 21,000 subscribers, barely. And are we even there? We're even at 21,000, almost to 21,000. We're approaching it rapidly. We're just hanging around, lingering. 20,959 subscribers. Yeah, 59. So we are not quite at 21,000. And they have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, nay, millions of people reading their garbage when they print stories like this. I mean, look at that. This is ridiculous. Steenhuisen's 2.8 million blue light special. All right. So then on top of that, we have the Times Live running a poll about what its viewers think of John Steenhuisen's luxury vehicles. Of course, they're not John Steenhuisen's luxury vehicles. What do you make of Steenhuisen's confirmation of his luxury blue light brigade? I'm sorry. Cyril Ramaphosa has a blue light brigade. Ronnie Lamola has a blue light brigade. Parks Tao has a blue light brigade. Guede Mantasha. Paul Mashatile. We know because his security detail beat Sandef members up in the streets outside of Johannesburg. Remember that? Yeah. So this is just disingenuous and dishonest. Let me find the image I saved of this earlier of the poll so we can see a better shot of it here. And I'm going to show you, come on, here it is. This is the poll that Times Live put up in that story, okay? This is ridiculous. You should be able to read this because it's pretty large. All right, so let me put it on the screen. This is nonsense. All right, there you go. So what do you think of Steenhuisen's confirmation of his luxury blue light brigade? Okay, now these are the responses. It's hypocritical. He should have been more transparent about his use of luxury cars. Why? He's not using them, according to the DA, and they were already there. Should he be more transparent about the number of desks and lamps and buildings that the Agriculture Ministry has? Get real. It's understandable he needs security, but he should have been clear. See, look at that. It's understandable, but he's still wrong. What kind of answer is that? It raises concerns about the integrity of his statements, but doesn't change my overall opinion. He didn't lie. And I'm unsure. I need more information to form an opinion. What kind of poll is that? How about we put one up that says the Times Live is a propaganda libel machine? How about we do that? Yep. I didn't see him on Biz News, Garrett. Yep. So, wow. Maybe I should try to get John Steenhuisen on my program. He's blown me off in the past, but I'll reach out. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, I will share a story with the DA and see if I can't get him on the program. So yeah. Anyway, of course, I'm known for famously calling the DA to account for the hypocrisy. So I don't know if the DA will actually come on the program. I've interviewed John Steenhuisen once, and I kept it brief for just a minute and a half. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah, every option is a negative option, Charles. It's not even a legitimate poll. It's just libel and slander. So in response, the News 24, the Propaganda 24, actually does a pretty decent job of reporting, and their clickbait headline is not a clickbait headline, which is unusual. That's pretty good. News 24, this is from Jan Gerbe, who tends to do a pretty good job. But Jan Gerbe's headline says the Democratic Alliance says its ministers inherited blue lights but don't use them. And that's actually the story, which means there's no story here. This is a tempest in a teapot. DA ministers inherited official vehicles equipped with blue lights, but they do not use them, the party said. Well, there you go. Story's over. Non-story. The toilet paper of record, the Daily Maverick, and the Times Live are all running sensationalist journalism, which is not news. It's not news, and it should be called out for what it is, and I will call it out. And in this case, the DA appears to be innocent, and they should be treated as if they're innocent, not be mistreated by people who want to get clicks and make money. I want clicks, but I'm not here for the money. I'm certainly not here for the fame. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I told you, you dance with the devil and you get shat upon. That's right. Naspers, the propaganda machine that owns Propaganda 24, Naspers is in trouble, losing a huge chunk of its stock value in a single day after its ownership of Tencent came into play. Well, because Tencent has been blacklisted by the U.S. government for their Communist Party activities. Yep, Naspers is going to have to suck this one up. It's a bloodbath on Tuesday for Naspers and Prosus as both entities lost 225 billion rand after the United States Defense Department placed tech giant Tencent on a blacklist. Yes, it had a resounding effect in Amsterdam and in Johannesburg, where both Naspers and Prosus stocks were pummeled, losing a lot of money in a single day. Too bad, 2 billion rand. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter what sort of privilege a person grows up with, what sort of advantages and opportunities they have. It doesn't matter how famous they are. Look at all the Hollywood celebrities whose children are dysfunctional drug addicts and troublemakers, or prostitutes in the case of, what's his name's daughter. But anyway, this is something that fame, fortune, notoriety, celebrity, and wealth do not guarantee that a person is going to be a good human being. Perfect case here. Example, well, News 24 reports that Nelson Mandela's grandson is among the people arrested with stolen property. Oh, yeah. Yep. Mandela's grandson and 4 others arrested. Hijacked car recovered at former President's Joburg home. Wow. The grandson of former statesman Nelson Mandela, a woman and 3 men were arrested for possession of a hijacked vehicle on Wednesday morning at the former president's home in Houghton. Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department spokesman Zolani Finla said officers received information about a vehicle tracking company about the location of a white Toyota Corolla that was hijacked along Louis Botha Avenue. Acting on this information, officers proceeded to a residence in Houghton, previously owned by the former president Nelson Mandela. Upon entering the property, officers recovered the hijacked vehicle and apprehended the 5 individuals. Now, let's be clear, because I know what the defense is going to be from the ANC. The ANC will come out and defend this story and say it's not true. Madiba's grandson did not steal the car. He had guests who came over. God bless it. And they happened to have a stolen vehicle. That's the story. You wait and see. You wait and see. I'm predicting it now. This is my prediction. The African National Congress will come out and talk about the story because it's going to get some legs. This is Madiba's grandson caught with a stolen vehicle on Madiba's residence. You watch. The ANC will come out and say that, no, these are disparaging, dishonest reports. Madiba's grandson did not steal the vehicle. He simply had guests over who were in a stolen vehicle. He had no knowledge of it. You wait and see. You wait and see. All right? But that story will get some legs here, most likely. Excuse me. Oh, God bless. Hang on. As I've cut my beard, I've noticed I'm having a little bit issue with hair now. Never had a problem before when they were longer. So why does Madiba's grandson need to steal a vehicle? Isn't he rolling in dough? Well, bless. He's got a lot of grandkids and great-grandkids, so who knows? Some of them maybe aren't so well off. But you can see this person is... Well, why? Because that's what criminals do. I'm not saying he's a criminal, but criminals steal. It doesn't matter how rich they are. It doesn't matter how privileged they are. They steal. That's just their nature. Whether he's a criminal or not, I guess we'll find out eventually. Meanwhile, in Hammanskraal, the Action SA mayor says the water is safe to drink. In Cholera City, Hammanskraal, we shall see. Shwane Mayor Nasife Moya drinks water from a tap in Hammanskraal as she demonstrates residents that the water is safe to drink. And moments later, she was rushed to the hospital. No, just kidding. An announcement follows extensive testing conducted by the city and Mohali's Water and the National Department of Water and Sanitation. The latest laboratory tests confirm the water now meets all the required health standards for consumption. There's no arsenic. There's no lace. This comes after a process of purging the reticulation system, which was previously supplied by Temba Waterworks, using clean water source from the new Klipdrift package plant. Sounds a little complicated. I made a commitment that I would be the first to attest to the safety of the water in Hammanskraal, and I've kept my promise.
Okay, so cheers.
Publicity stunt, but a smart one. The smartest thing that Action SA has done in 3 months. Most of what Action SA is doing is just nonsense, racially divisive, and anything that's anti-DA. But this is actually something productive. So there you go. There you go. The ANC fed them poo water. The DA didn't clean it up. And now Action SA takes credit for a project begun under the DA and completed on their watch after they scuppered and collapsed the government. How clever is that? Well, the Jacob Zuma demands this ANC expulsion be reversed. Jacob Zuma is determined to get back into the ANC. The boys are back in town. Listen, you're out, dude. You brought disrepute on the ANC. They kicked you out. Zuma demands ANC expulsion reversal on party's birthday, and Fikile Mbalula calls him mischievous. On the day the ANC celebrates his 113th birthday, former President Jacob Zuma is demanding an immediate reversal of expulsion from the party. In his latest attempt, by the way, let me ask you this question, folks. When was the U.S. Democratic Party founded? When was the Republican Party founded? And what date do they celebrate as their birthday? I don't know. Do you know? Do you even know the year? What about the Tory Party, the CDU? Who celebrates their birthday every year as a political party? People who have very, very fragile egos. That's who does. Well, the ANC is determined to win back voters. Good luck with that. And they do a little publicity stunt like Action SA. This time they go to Robben Island to relive the experience. ANC determined to rebuild trust. Ramaphosa visits Robben Island. Kokotatso Madisa says the island is a symbol of enslavement and rebellion, imprisonment and resistance. Ooh. The ANC marked its 113th birthday celebrations with a trip down memory lane by visiting Robben Island. Led by President Ramaphosa, ANC leaders descended on the island where many freedom fighters, including Nelson Mandela, Dennis Goldberg, Andrew Malangeni, Walter Sisulu, and Govan Mbeki, were incarcerated during the apartheid regime. Yep. This island occupies a significant place in the history of our movement and the people of this country. Robben Island is a symbol both of enslavement and rebellion. It's a site of imprisonment and resistance. On this day, at this place, we pay tribute to the men and women who fought so courageously against colonialism and apartheid. And that's not going to get you any more votes. People don't care about the story anymore. Well, folks, the rift between the provincial ANC and the national ANC in Gauteng is real, and we've reported on ever since the formation of the Government of National Unity and the bizarre behavior of Panyazi Lesufi, who clearly wants to be the next leader of the African National Congress. He may very well be the next leader of the reformed African National Congress as it breaks away from the ANC or something like that. I actually understand Zuma's rhetoric and issue. Tons of ANC members also, ANC occasionally stands against ANC for municipal elections. Neville, I'm not arguing his position. I'm just laughing at it. It's ludicrous. You don't form another political party and then try to get back in that one. So rift between the ANC and the Gauteng structures grows ahead of the January 8th celebration. So the African National Congress in Gauteng has not made peace with its mother body following outcomes of general elections back in March. March? No, the elections were in May. What kind of nonsense is this? This is journalism? So I'm reading the story. They got it wrong. There were general elections in March. It was in May. Meanwhile, Durban's beaches are full of poo. Ooh, say it ain't so. There's poo on the beach. There's poo on the beach. There's poo on the... Ooh, that's not good. Well, folks, multiple stories in the media today. eThekwini closes Umhlanga beaches. Mysterious brown balls surface on the shore. Who's got big balls? We've got big balls. But she's got the biggest balls of them all. 2 bathing beaches in Umhlanga and Durban have been closed after brown balls, thought to be human or dog feces, were found on the main beach. Oh, that's nasty. The city cautions the public against circulating unverified information. Umhlanga Main Beach and Bronze Beach have been closed until further notice as a precautionary measure, while the eThekwini Water and Sanitation Unit, as well as the scientists, conduct an analysis of the balls. Who's got big balls? She's got big balls. Ooh. They warned the public about spreading rumors and misleading information about the beaches being closed. But they just said the beaches are closed. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not spreading rumors or misinformation. I'm telling you there is crap on the beaches in Umhlanga and Bronze Beach, and they're closed, as per the eThekwini authorities. Devil says only Americans know when South Africans were. South Africans are still getting around the idea that they're only 12 months in a year. Oh my goodness. So one of the places I visited during the 29 May 2024 national elections in South Africa in the Western Cape was Monenberg. I was in Khayelitsha, I was in Monenberg, Somerset West, the list goes on and on. But I went to Monenberg, and I went there with the Action SA candidate, and she grew up there. So it was a very interesting experience for me, and hung out at the polling station. But bad news from Monenberg today, where gang activity has taken the life of a 5-year-old child. Wow. 5-year-old dies after gang shooting in Monenberg, and 3 people have been arrested. A stray bullet hit him while walking in Monenberg. 5-year-old boy was shot in the head after being caught in crossfire in Monenberg. He's died at the Red Cross Children's Hospital. The parents of little Amir Abrahams confirmed on Wednesday that the machines that were keeping him alive had been turned off, indicating there was nothing more they could do. I have no words. My heart is in pain, was all Mishka Abrahams could say shortly after her son was pronounced dead. Amir was walking with his dad, roaming to a nearby tuck shop, when a volley of bullets rang out in what police believe was a gang-related shooting. The bullets were fired around 6:45 in the direction of the father and son who were walking towards the tuck shop. It struck Amir as well as 2 other women who had been sitting in the street in front of a house. The women were injured in the leg and lower back, while Amir was rushed to hospital. Amir's aunt, Tasneem Benjamin, said her niece, Mishka, and Amir's dad confirmed that the life support machines were turned off. He was brain dead and had lots of machines keeping him alive. Good Lord. His younger sister is being shielded from the sadness that fills the house where Amir lived. What do you say about this tragedy, folks? This is, every day, we're reporting on the death of children shot by gangsters. Every day. It's horrific. This is a child who did nothing wrong, a child that didn't grow up and get into tick or get into dacha or do any other drugs, or not a problem child in school, a child that didn't even get a chance to attend school, life taken at the age of 5. Wow. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Family Day turns tragic. KZM man injured on Ushaka Marine World slide. I've been on that slide, so this got my attention. Yep. A Phoenix father was stranded with a broken back and leg for more than half an hour after the water machines were turned off while he was going down the second highest slide at Ushaka. Junid Sang, 34, who was self-employed, was visiting the water park with his family on Sunday when a thunderstorm started. He claimed at this point workers informally called on patrons to evacuate the water slides and force people out of the park. His brother-in-law, Wahid Nazir, a pharmacy assistant, was at the park, said that no proper announcements were made to ask people to leave these slides. They just closed the slides and asked everyone to leave. Junid was on the second highest slide at the time. He laughed and joked with the lifeguard before he went down. At this point, they did not know the park was being evacuated. He went down the slide, not realizing the slide water machines had been shut off. As he went down the slide, the water stopped and the slide became dry. He's not slim, so with his weight, he started moving quickly and started swaying from side to side. He ended up hitting his leg on the side of the slide, and it broke in 2 places. When he reached the bottom of the slide, his back was also broken in 3 places, and he couldn't move. Good Lord. At the bottom of the slide was his pregnant wife, Farnaz, and their 2-year-old son waiting for him. Wow, talk about irresponsible. Irresponsible. We want answers. Why did they do it while there was someone on the slide? They should have better communication in place. They were trying to work with word of mouth to inform everyone, but that didn't work. They should have used the intercoms. So everyone would have been made aware. So the worst part is nobody tried to help them when the incident occurred. He claimed that they'd been left waiting for more than half an hour with no help. Wow. Wife is 5 months pregnant, has a 2-year-old son. An investigation into the incident and events leading up to it is currently underway. The Ushaka says they take this incident seriously. Well, apparently their staff are negligent. This is why businesses have to have insurance. Yep. Charles says, what did they do there? There's more to the Ushaka story. I reckon someone on the top who controls. I've been on that slide, Charles, and there are people at the top, but they're not always paying attention. And I suspect that may be the case that occurred here without any more information, Charles. Yeah, you've been there. I've been there. Although I don't bother to go there. My recent trips to Durban, I just park in Ushaka's parking lot because it's relatively safe. And then I walk through Ushaka and don't buy anything. Although I did have a meal there. I was at the Spur last time I was there. But the shops are pretty lame. They're just, there's gum stuck to the sidewalk everywhere. It's filthy. It's disgusting. It's declined. It is a disgrace what the authorities in Durban have allowed that city to become. Anyway, yeah. The South African Communist Party will vanish just like the EFF. Boy, Fikile Mabulula is prone to making bold statements these days. Well, there's Brett. Hey, Brett, I saw you on Ronaldo yesterday making big super chats. The MK Party, it will disappear like the EFF MK if it contests an election on its own, says Gwede Mantashe. He looks like he's in the Botswana Democratic Party with that red vest on. Should the South African Communist Party break away from the ANC and contest the 2028 municipal elections, it will vanish from the country's political spectrum, suffering the same fate that awaits the EFF, MK, and the Africa Transformation Movement. These comments coming from ANC National Chairman Gwede Mantashe. It's very simple. The Communist Party is a party on its own. It has a right to take its decision, and as the ANC was never venturing into trying to challenge that. We have a right to take our decision. We have a right to take that decision. Well, they have a right. Anyway, yeah, so Gwede Mantashe says that the Communist Party will disappear. Well, if it does, it's going to have to take all the senior leadership of the ANC with it, since they're all members. Well, a shift in the political winds in South Africa means that the government is, according to the Washington Times, suddenly paying attention to the borders. New government takes a tougher line on migrants in region's economic powerhouse. Powerhouse, that's a pretty generous description of South Africa's economy. 3,000-mile land border running from the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean separates South Africa from 5 other countries, but nowhere is the traffic more intense than at Beitbridge, the sole transit across Limpopo to Zimbabwe. Despite upgrades, immigration, customs, post in Zimbabwe and South Africa, trucks inching their way to the gates can be backed up for miles. Cargo from as far north as Zambia and Malawi heads to Durban or Cape Town. Imports go the other way. At Christmas time, millions of migrants cross Africa's land borders to head home, and South African roads are bustling. Joburg alone has a gross domestic product greater than all of South Africa's neighbors combined. Beitbridge has imposed a problem for crossers, even those without passports. Touts, known as to the police and army, charge $40 to $120 to exit in either direction, evading security and sharing bribes with the Department of Home Affairs, which is responsible for immigration. Well, now the government is suddenly paying attention to this mess on its border. It's about time. Eswatini has been renewed for its Africa Growth and Opportunity Act despite its human rights repression and violence against demonstrators and banning of political parties, none of which makes Eswatini eligible, but nonetheless it stays in the program. Eswatini has secured continued eligibility for benefits under the African Growth and Opportunity Act for the 39 companies currently trading under AGOA, which includes some of the biggest brands, according to U.S. Trade Representative Sam Michel. He confirmed their eligibility in late December. Their exclusion from the trade agreement in 2015 followed the country's failure to meet benchmarks for democratization and respect for human rights and highlighted how the country's political situation negatively impacted the economy. In a written statement issued on December 21st, U.S. Trade Representative Sam Michel said the decision to continue their participation was based on annual eligibility review. Eswatini, an AGOA member for 23 years, exported $23.5 million worth of goods in 2022. Yeah, but the problem is that Eswatini is not eligible because it's a human rights abuser and it has no business in the program. Shouldn't be allowed to benefit from it. In neighboring Namibia, the arrest of activist Spotlight. Oh, thank you, Erica, for the super chat. There's a 70 Rand super chat from Erica. Very kind of you. They've been not many of those coming this month. So, activists arrested for illegal lithium mining in central Namibia. Namibian activist Jimmy Arseb appeared in court on Monday after being arrested for allegedly violating public order laws during a protest at a local traditional authorities' offices. He and others at the rally accused officials of accepting bribes from a Chinese mining company in return for access to lithium deposits. The confrontation highlights growing tension in Namibia's Erongo region, where activists say the Chinese company Jinfeng is acting illegally. Images of an elderly woman being carried off by members of Namibia's Parliamentary Special Field Force on Saturday set the Namibian social media space abuzz, with some comments likening it to the apartheid era when the country was controlled by South Africa. Well, that's not good. Not good. Sudanese paramilitary group has been accused of committing genocide. A force fighting Sudan's army in a brutal civil war committed massacres and rape that amounted to genocide, the Secretary of State said, 2 decades after fighting of genocide in the same region, in Darfur. Yep. The United States on Tuesday accused Sudanese paramilitary group and its proxies of committing genocide, singling them out in a conflict of unchecked brutality and drawing fresh attention to the scale of atrocities being perpetrated in Africa's largest war. Treasury Department backed the determination of genocide and a raft of sanctions targeting the RSF's leader, General Mohammed Hamdan, as well as 7 companies in the UAE. Those that have provided weapons and gold on his behalf have been trading in both those. Benjamin Lagasakni, you are late to the program. I already addressed that story about him being arrested and already predicted what the ANC's response would be. It wasn't me. It'll be the Shaggy defense. Picture this. We were both butt naked on the bathroom floor. It wasn't me. Yeah. Honey caught me red-handed. No, honey caught you red-handed. Well, they were going to say that, no, he didn't steal it. He just had guests over. They happened to have a stolen vehicle, so you can't blame Madiba's grandson. You watch. Anyway, continuing on with the stories, the United States and the Islamic Republic of Mauritania have reached an agreement on climate change. Yes, to enhance power sector resilience and climate adaptation. The United States welcomes the signing of a landmark $27 million Millennium Challenge Corporation threshold program agreement with the government of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania. The MCC and the Mauritanian government designed this program to build Mauritania's capacity in inclusive power sector planning. Inclusive power sector planning. It's woke horse shit. Inclusive. What's inclusive about power? What's inclusive? You either have access to electricity or you don't. Grid operations, electricity regulation, and the threshold program provide debt-free grants to develop fundable environmental resilience products and incorporate the climate change and social considerations into the environmental impact. So the United States is giving money to Mauritania to build a power plant. We're giving it for free. We have no money. We're bankrupt, but we're giving money to Mauritania. Don't you just love it? Don't you just love it? Yeah. Italian journalist Cecilia Sala has been released from Iranian prison and is returning home. An Italian journalist detained in Iran for 3 weeks and whose fate became intertwined with that of an Iranian engineer wanted by the United States was freed today and is headed home. A plane carrying Cecilia Sala took off from Tehran after intensive work on diplomatic intelligence channels, Premier Giorgia Meloni's office said, adding that Meloni had informed Sala's parents of the news. Well, here's what I have to say to Cecilia. What the hell are you doing in Iran? Get out. Get out. The 29-year-old reporter for the Il Foglio Daily was detained on December 19, 3 days after she arrived on a journalist visa. She's accused of violating the laws of the Islamic Republic. Wow. Don't go to Iran. Pretty simple. Then you won't be arrested by the Iranians. Japanese Prime Minister has warned of potential political fallout from Joe Biden's foolish move to block U.S. steel from merging with Nippon Steel. The usually reticent Japanese ally escalates a legal battle to pursue the $14 billion merger. Japan is getting its samurai on, riding into battle against both the outgoing and incoming presidents. The usually reticent ally is making it clear that it will not go quietly in its fight to overturn President Biden's decision to block Nippon Steel's $14 billion takeover of U.S. Steel, with Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba warning this week that the rejection could have real consequences for a bilateral relationship where annual two-way trade topped $300 billion in recent years. Well, there you go. There you go. I think it's very insulting to the Japanese that we claim that they're a national security threat to the U.S. U.S. Treasury officials have sanctioned a top Hungarian official. Antal Rogan is a close ally of Viktor Orban. He's been one of the President-elect Donald Trump's biggest supporters in Europe. U.S. Treasury has imposed sanctions on senior Hungarian government official. Treasury said Rogan was involved in public sector corruption, but did not go into detail. Acting under Secretary of Treasury for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, Bradley Smith, in a statement, corruption undermines a country's governing institutions and limits its economic development, providing short-sighted gain for a select few while depriving future generations of longer-term benefit. Excuse me. The United States will not hesitate to hold account individuals like Rogan who use power of their office to solicit, enrich themselves and their cronies at the expense of their country. I'm sorry. So we are going to sanction someone for their conduct in another country? That's extraterritorial. Where do we get... Look, if we're going to argue that Putin and Bibi Netanyahu cannot face an arrest warrant from the ICC because they're not in countries under the jurisdiction of the ICC, then how can we make the argument the United States can sanction and punish someone for crimes committed in another country? He's not even an American. If he's an American citizen, that's a different kettle of fish. But this guy's not even American, he's Hungarian. And we're going to sanction him and punish him for things he did in his own country? Pfft. Why don't you punish Volodymyr Zelensky? What a clown car show this Biden regime is. Wow. Well, Europe will not allow the attacks. Emmanuel Macron opens his big yap after Trump's Greenland threat. France has said the European Union will not allow other nations to attack its sovereign borders after U.S. President Donald Trump refused to rule out using military force to seize Greenland. Yesterday, Trump reiterated his desire to acquire the autonomous Danish territory, saying it was critical for national economic security. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot told French radio there is obviously no question the European Union would let other nations of the world attack its sovereign borders, whoever they are. All I have to say, you, if Frenchie is, you'd be eating schnitzel right now if it wasn't for us, so shut your yap! The French would be eating this schnitzel and drinking the German beer with the lovely blonde hair, blue-eyed German ladies. Oui, 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 oui. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are very familiar with city workers, municipal workers working on water and gas and municipal infrastructure being assaulted, attacked, murdered, robbed in South Africa, particularly in Cape Town. But we also have seen ambulances repeatedly attacked by people, and we're seeing this as a common occurrence now in the United Kingdom. And what are two things that are related, which people will say, no, they're not. They are the mass invasion of the United Kingdom by criminal alien invaders and the legal immigration that the government has allowed in order to wipe out the indigenous population of the British Isles. And we've led to cultural norms and change. And we find in almost every instance that these assaults on emergency vehicles are taking place by whom? Immigrants or recent immigrants. Yep. Statement of fact right there. The Association of Ambulance Chief Executives predicts over 5,000 incidents will be reported during the winter months, with 2,000 expected in December alone. Assaults against ambulance staff on the rise. Wow. The number of assaults committed against ambulance workers is rising, with at least 55 staff being abused or attacked every day. There were 11,817 instances in 2024-2025 season. They expect to see over 20,000 for the first time ever this year. Association predicts over 5,000 incidents will be reported between the winter months of December to February, with 2,000 expected in December alone. My goodness. Reported incidents so far this year across 14 ambulance services in the UK include kicking, punching, spitting, headbutting, sexual assault, and verbal abuse. Many of these assaults go unreported. The true figure is actually far higher. Alcohol is a prominent factor, followed by drugs and people experiencing mental health crisis. Wow. Crazy. Tough to be in. You're going to be attacked because you go to help people. Well, U.S. lawmakers are attending the services for deceased President James Earl Carter Jr., the oldest surviving president who reached the age of 100, so he could cast his vote for Kamala Harris and has passed away as we enter the new year. His body is lying in state in the Capitol Rotunda. U.S. lawmakers honored Jimmy Carter yesterday as the body of the nation's 39th president arrived to lie in state in the U.S. Capitol. Today we gather to celebrate the life of a man whose works will echo for generations to come, Vice President Kamala Harris said to distinguished guests and members of Carter's family assembled. The one-term Democratic president, Nobel Prize winner, will lie in state in Washington for 2 days, allowing the American public to pay its final respects. As Carter lies in state, visitors pay homage and honor to witness. On a frigid winter night, they came from near and far to stand in line with hundreds of others to honor a public servant, a humble man. And that young lady wasn't even alive when Carter was president, but she's there. Yep, 2 blocks from the Capitol as the sun set Tuesday, the public began lining up to say goodbye to Jimmy Carter one last time. On a frigid night, they came from near and far to stand in line with hundreds of others to honor a public servant, a humble man, and a leader. Richard and Todd Griffin, okay, I'm guessing they're gay, remembered that when they were kids, they're brothers. Their home in Cary, North Carolina, was the only one in the neighborhood with a Carter for President sign. Their father, who's now 99, served in the Navy and was a World War II vet who revered the 39th president. My dad is a Carter gentleman. He always instilled in his kids the value of character and doing the right thing. Their father's admiration for Carter is why the brothers were among the first in line Tuesday. Richard, 60, took the metro from Frederick. His brother drove up North Carolina. Yep. His father suffers from dementia, but they'll tell him about the experience. Well, I will not be attending the events at the Rotunda. President Carter made my life a living hell as a young man with his poor decisions, his macroeconomic policies that led to massive unemployment, hyperinflation, and unaffordability. I graduated high school at a time of the legacy of his missteps, and my future was anything but assured because of his feckless policy. The Los Angeles wildfires are out of control. Reportedly, James Woods, the conservative actor's home, was engulfed by flames, or nearly engulfed by flames last night. I don't know the current status. Tens of thousands were under mandatory evacuation orders. Multiple blazes raged out of control. Gusty winds hindered firefighting efforts and raised fears that flames could reach more populated areas. That was somebody's home. That's horrible. Fierce winds were propelling multiple out-of-control wildfires across Southern California today that destroyed homes and businesses, covered cities and highways in smoke, and whipped up storms of embers and turned the skies red. Officials have tallied devastating losses, but warned the worst was still to come. An unknown number of homes have been destroyed along with the scenic Pacific coast, and tens of thousands of residents were under mandatory evacuation orders. It's going to be devastating, a devastating loss for all of Los Angeles. Here's a map, ladies and gentlemen, of the areas. They have 3 major fires. They have the Palisades fire just outside Santa Monica and Calabasas. And you can see in the red, that's an evacuation order. The tan areas are evacuation warning. You have the Palisades fire along the coast. You have the Hearst fire up in the mountains. And then you have the Eaton fire at the foothills of the mountains by Glendale, Pasadena, and Arcadia. This is some bad mojo for Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people are going to suffer horribly. Horribly. Well, Donald Trump at his fantastic press conference yesterday, which we covered live right here on the program, Donald Trump talked about acquiring Greenland at the Panama Canal, not to mention what he said about the Gulf of Mexico. Trump talks Greenland, Panama Canal, and January 6 pardons in a very sedate, calm, and controlled press conference. A bunch of idiotic questions from stupid reporters, but a few good questions. As his son, Donald Trump Jr., visited Greenland, the president discussed his wish for the United States to control the Panama Canal and Greenland. He also joked about naming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, which he said would be appropriate and beautiful. Of course, Trump has talked about rescinding the naming of Mount McKinley to Mount Denali back to Mount McKinley. And we will see that Fort Bragg will once become Fort Bragg, Fort Rucker, Fort Hood. It will all go back. Oh, my goodness. All right. So the Trump press conference was all the rage yesterday, and his foreign policy threats reverberating overseas. Here he comes out at Mar-a-Lago. President Trump on Tuesday refused to rule out using military force to retake the Panama Canal, which the U.S. returned to the country by Jimmy Carter. Yep. In his news conference, he said that all hell will break loose in the Middle East if the hostages are not released by Inauguration Day. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the story that's developing. We now have just a number of days before Donald Trump is reelected, 12 days, or not reelected, when he's reinstalled as the president. In 12 days, the hostages in Gaza had better be released or all hell will break loose. Wow. Does that mean the United States will start attacking Hamas? Watch out. Watch this space for more news on that. Trump has asked the Supreme Court to block the hush money sentencing in the non-existent crime that he's accused of. President-elect Donald Trump filed a last-ditch request asking the Supreme Court to block his coming sentencing for covering up hush money by the adult film star. The state jury convicted Trump last year of 34 felonies for falsifying business reports after months of post-trial maneuvering by Trump's lawyers. The presiding New York judge said he would sentence Trump tomorrow, days before the inauguration. But he's gone to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court asked the Manhattan District Attorney's Office to respond by 10 o'clock this morning. That was an hour and 20 minutes ago. The request comes after a New York appeals judge declined to put the sentencing on hold. The justices on Friday are considering the constitutionality of a federal ban on TikTok. So that's an addition. So the Supreme Court is in session today, and we'll find out whether they actually keep Trump from being sentenced or not. CNN and its sloppy journalism is facing another trial, a defamation trial for defaming a Navy veteran. At a particularly inopportune time for legacy media and CNN, the news outlet is on trial in Florida, accused of defaming a Navy veteran involved in rescuing endangered Afghans from that country when the U.S. ran away in 2021. The veteran, Zachary Young, blamed CNN for destroying his business when it displayed his face on screen during a story that discussed a black market and smuggling out Afghans for high fees at the time of the takeover. In the broader sense, the case puts the news media on the stand in journalism critic Donald Trump's home state weeks before he's due to begin his second term as president. And on the same day that Facebook parent introduced a Trump-friendly policy of backing off of fact checks. Yep, you're going to have an opportunity to do something significant in this trial, Roach told jurors. Yep. Oh, so we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. So, we will see what happens. Well, in the midst of global warming, southern states are in for their biggest snowstorm in years. Snow will fall in New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Missouri in the South. But hey, it's global warming, the cult of climate change. We should talk to them about that global warming thing. Do you believe in that cold fusion mumbo jumbo? The Washington Post has announced it will lay off 4% of its staff. Who cares? The Washington Post will conduct layoffs this week, impacting 4% of staffers. The legacy outlet began informing staff of layoffs on Tuesday. According to reports, the job cuts will impact fewer than 100 staffers across various departments. Post Bruce announced layoffs in September when it cut 54 staffers from its tech division. More than 250,000 customers canceled their subscriptions after the media outlet refused to endorse a candidate for president. Also faced departure, some of its useless leftist propaganda journalists, so-called journalists, and the paper is actually better for it. Well, social media companies are deciding to ease their censorship in the wake of the return of Trump. Facebook's Meta follows in Twitter's footsteps by letting users fact-check each other with community notes. Yep. And their stock dropped. Trump ally Elon Musk led the charge starting back in 2022 when he acquired the platform then known as Twitter and slashed content policy jobs and loosened content restrictions. In 2023, YouTube and Meta halted policies that had curbed claims of widespread fraud in the 2020 U.S. presidential election. Excuse me? So I can claim that the election was stolen? I've been self-censoring because I didn't want to get blocked on YouTube. I didn't know I could tell the truth about what happened in 2020. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. YouTube never told me that they were no longer censoring that content. And Donald Trump vows to change the name to the Gulf of the name of the Gulf of Mexico. There he is in the White House South in Mar-a-Lago. President-elect Donald Trump on Tuesday vowed to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to reflect its proximity to America. He insists the body of water's name should be changed to the Gulf of America. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring. He said at a press conference in Mar-a-Lago. That covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name, and it's appropriate. Well, I disagree, Mr. Trump. It should be the Gulf of the Americas. You see, South America is on the bottom, and North America is on the top, and in between is this pond known as the Gulf of Mexico. It should be the Gulf of the Americas. I think that's the answer. What do you all think? Wait, let me do that. We'll do a poll. Okay, let's do a poll. Start a poll. Okay, which is the more appropriate name? Okay, which typos are terrible here. Golf. All right, there's your poll, folks. There's your chance to answer it. Keep it the way it is. I'm not offended. I'm not offended either, but Trump's having fun trolling people. But I do want Greenland. I've always wanted Greenland. I think Greenland should be part of the United States. Yeah. Should have bought it back in the 1860s, but the freaking Congress was useless. All right, so who else we got here in the chat? Let me go back a little bit. There's the news for today. Leah Menard says, hardest going out to child's parents. Yeah, it's terrible. What did he try to do? The Ushaka story, we'll find out more. Sasius says, big lawsuit. I agree. Marilyn Brokenshaw's here. Who else we got? Neville Purden, never been to Ushaka. Only travel in South Africa and don't regard KZ as part of South Africa. Okay. Yeah, Brett, long time no see. Ronaldo is another tragedy. We're not, Brett. I'm not giving you a hard time about Super Chat. Just saying I saw you there. Yeah, no, I'm aware of what happened with Ronaldo's family. I mean, remember we do a show together, and so I was informed long before the public knew about what's happening there. It's kind of sad. But it does happen. Hendo says Ushaka is a crap hole. Didn't used to be. It didn't used to be. Only good thing about KZN is called sharks. What, the ones in the water or the ones at Kings Park? Charmaine has to go eat. Okay. And then Jonathan, Jono Church. How's it from Cape Town? Hey, how's it going there, Jonathan? Welcome. Yeah, no, I saw you're going to. I've been to the Warner Brothers tour in England. Wasn't impressed. It was okay. Yeah, it had so much potential, but they ruined it. Yep. Seeing the LA Kings, Anaheim Ducks. Yeah, the Ducks would be interesting. I care less to see the Kings. The Kings. Yeah, the Kings. Kings are fine. So good. You're going to see some hockey, Brett. That's awesome. But to even get there is a heartbreak. My mom used to work at Addington Complete. Okay, sorry to hear that. And Erica came in with a super chat. Thank you for that. If South Africa had lots of jobs on offer, these fence jumpers would head the other way. Stephanie Hatzemichael says hello. Yes, Chris South is becoming very dirty everywhere. Yep. Okay. And what else we got here? Benjamin says, see one of Monday. Okay, I already got that. Slippery Pickle, Stephanie. Anna Marie Nell is here. By Anna Marie Nell. I reported yesterday on Formula One. Were you here, Anna Marie? Yesterday I reported on Formula One. Cape Town's bid to get the Formula One back. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Let's see. The resident pain in the butt doesn't seem to be here tonight. Which, oh yeah, Alan probably talking about, oh wait, and there he is, pops right up after you say that. Neville says Trump's just being himself. Greenland will become the jester and Trump will be chuckling, made them jump. Exactly. Robert Franklin Moore is in from PE. Welcome to you. And Neville's, okay, going back and forth there. Okay. Greenland thing seems to be about shipping lanes. Shipping lanes are part of it, but it's also early warning. It's also missile defense. It's also more cyber connectivity. There's a lot of things, not to mention the mineral wealth that's under Greenland, but I don't know if we'll ever be able to exploit that. Yep, Greenland is simply tongue-in-cheek. Middle East is a serious warning. Yes, that is correct, Neville. You're correct. There will be all hell to pay in the Middle East if those hostages aren't released. Robert Frankenmore says 2 27-year-olds appeared in court this afternoon for murder of Constable Andrew with service. Yeah. Okay, I didn't see that reported anywhere in the press when I went live, but I went live, to be fair, an hour ago. So I could have missed it too. Remember that with my IP address, when I go to my subscription in South Africa, I don't get always the same news stories and feeds. And when I do a search, for instance, in IO, it takes 2 or 3 minutes before the damn thing returns results. And sometimes it doesn't return results for things I see on the splash page. So their search engine sucks. Anyway, they should just pay Google to use their search engine for their website. But I didn't know they're 27-year-olds. That's pretty horrific. At least it wasn't kids. I was worried it was kids. I was glad the USA purchased Alaska. Yeah, well, I'm also glad they purchased Louisiana Purchase. Yep. John Jarvis is here. Based on the 12-day rule, the lights and snowmen should come down by now. No, John, it is Ethiopian Christmas right now. Don't offend my friends in Ethiopia. It's Orthodox Christmas right now. And the snowman is not for Christmas. The snowman is for wintertime, just like the polar bear down here. Those aren't Christmas decorations. Those are winter decorations. The snowman stays up because I got buried under 3 inches of snow this week. You don't know the traditions that you're commenting on. Garrett Gillage, keep it the way it is. Trump needs to hire you to join the negotiating team of Greenland. Yeah, well, I'm happy to do that. I'll be happy to do that. Ken Harriston's still alive. Okay, good. USA sucks with African news. Huh? I have no idea what Dylan's saying. Size Matt, 3 inches, 3 inches. Yeah. Well, it was 3 inches of powder. It was actually quite easy for me to do it. I mean, shoveling snow was not that hard. Even with my hip, it didn't bother me. My lower back was a bit sore for a while. Let me see if I got a picture of the snow out there. Here we go. Here we go. So this is when it started, and you can see there's nothing even covering the yard. It's just barely a little bit of snow out there. So that later became 3 inches, and then the road was covered. So, yeah. Anyway, not a lot. So there you go. Didn't take a whole lot. But by the way, I took this picture. This is a couple weeks ago. Check this out. This is evening time. How you like that picture, man? Isn't that cool? Look at that sky. Red skies at night, sailor's delight. Red skies in the morning, sailors be warned. Yep. Took that. Excuse me. So, you'll be redirected to the Ronaldo Jose Wednesdays with the Colonel after this broadcast, so stay tuned for that. Golf in the Americas is a much better name. This proves once again why Trump needs to hire Chris. Well, I would agree with that, Pablo Charlie. Nobody interested in buying an African country? Yeah, no, I would. Low IQ. I have people always ask me, so what do you, when I was in Africa, what do you hope to do? What do you aspire to do when you're done with the military? I said, well, I've always wanted to be a benign dictator of a small African country. And the two leading candidates for the longest time were Swaziland and Lesotho. I'm more inclined for Lesotho these days because there's some great skiing there. And if I leverage things well, I can become a multi-billionaire just selling water to South Africa. Just saying. Just saying. Anyway. California, it is hot, huh? Dylan says, become my neighbor. Keep your coffee between your leg warm with an added few degrees. Oh, that's crazy. Robert Franklin Moore took his message out. Why is that? Anyway, folks, I hope you're all doing very well. We're already 8 days into 2025. Can you believe it? I mean, before you know it, I'll be like, December 15th, 2025. Where did the year go? Wow. We've got so much to do this year. So many things. I'm looking at my calendar now for planning the next trip, and I'm trying to plan it so that there's United Rugby Championship games I can go to. And I'm working that through, plus some other things. So, one 17-year-old in custody. Okay, yeah, I figured there might be a kid involved in it. So thank you for that, Robert. I didn't hear about that. Okay. Yeah, no. So let's talk about viewership. It's declined precipitously from the 6 days of really good views we had. And we're creeping up ever so close to that 21,000 subscriber mark at 20,959. So anyway, let me take a look at content and see how that's going. So the one I did, the most recent one on the ArcelorMittal, has done better than I expected. I mean, I hadn't had a 5,000 view, but 1, 2, 3, 4 videos in a row didn't get me to 5,000 views. This one, the 5th video, got me back over 5,000. It's currently sitting at 5,800 views. Thank you all for that. 21 subscribers. I really appreciate that. I'm going to look at the comments here in a moment. The ANC bickering, that one, I really didn't title that well, Fikeli Mabalula. That one's only 2,000 views. And then I did the video of the on and on with my images from traveling around the world, just 300. That's the diehards. The arrest made in the callous murder of the constable, Callan Andrews, that one's approaching 3,000 views. So we're 2,942. So I'm getting about 5 to 10 per hour. So it's going to be hard to make 3,000 on that one. Thank you for those who paid attention to that. 4,000 on the miners in Stillfontein. Anyway, but the big one that did really well is now becoming one of my top videos of all time. There's a super chat from Brett. Thank you for the super chat, Brett. I'll get to it in just a moment. That one has got me 51,900 views and 163 members, or subscribers, I should say. Thank you for that, the Knobs and Keezy. And then it actually I got more viewers from one that got 20,000 fewer views, which is interesting. So that one is the Ons Fati Kaki. That one got me 270 subscribers. Wow, that's awesome. And it's kind of picked up some attention today. It's getting about 10 to 30 views per hour, so not great, but 33,700 views on that one, and I've got 270 subscribers from it, so thank you all for that. That's pretty cool. Anyway, yeah. So we are at the highest level we've ever been in subscribers on this channel, and not for members, but subscribers. And let me take a look at the live count. So, yeah, just on December 28th, just a few days back, so that's 11 days ago, we were at 20,161. Now we're at 20,959. That's about 750 new members, or subscribers, I should say. Yeah. But I need to get another hit out there. I dropped to as low as 8,000 views on Monday, back to 9,000 Tuesday. Hey, if I get over 10,000 views per day, I'm pretty happy. So we've been at 10,000 or more since December 29th, so that's pretty good. The exception the last 2 days, which is just under 10,000. But let's see if we can't do better. Anyway, lifetime for the channel, just in case those are curious, let me take a look and see. Approaching 4.5 million views. 4,429,683 views to date on this newer channel. The old channel has 2.8 million, if I'm not mistaken, but that was in 5 months, or 7 months. Yep, 461,000 hours of viewed content. Pretty cool. Thank you all for that. I'm really grateful. Really grateful. So let me go back and look at the comments on the Arcolor Metal. See what I had a guy attack me, with the racist comment. I didn't even say anything about people's skin color or ethnicity, and he came after me for that, claiming I was talking about that. ANC is forever shouting job creation. Please explain this. Yep. In any other country, this company would have been a great success. True, you're right about that. Where was the part of the train power cables being cut? This must be coordinated. Oh, no, it's the train cables that were cut is from Northwest Province. I was up there when I went to Brits. That was from a couple years ago. And it was unrelated to the story, but I was trying to show how the rails aren't functioning because they've been sabotaged. Yeah, that was my point. Since the ANC set foot in office 30 years ago, job losses escalate, economy busy dying, corruption rockets to the roof. Yep. Thank you, Ramaphosa. Thank you, ANC. Yep. So what happens when we appease the Chinese? Well, at least the ANC will be able to boast about paying 3,500 more people social grants. That's our plan. Our government's being paid to destroy South Africa. Zimbabwe ×2. Titles misspelt. Shutter should be shut. No. Nope. Let's look that word up. Shutter. Okay. Oh, I spelled it wrong here. Shutter. Shutter. Dictionary.com. Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Here we go. Shutter. To close by or as if by shutters. Corporations are shuttering their production plants. Yep, I'm going to respond to that real quick. It is the exact right word. So people tell me I spelled the word wrong. Misspelled. Reply. Nope, you're going to wordsmith me? Going to wordsmith me? You better get it right. Verb. Shutter, shutters. Transitive verb. 1. To close by. 2, to furnish with shutters. Sorry, folks. I'm just giving a response to this. It's a transitive verb, and I used it correctly. Someone tried to tell me I didn't use it correctly. Colonel Wyatt, you're so well South Africanized already. If your average USA person listening to your stream, they'll wonder what you're talking about. No, I try to explain these things a lot, Smee, to my international audience, not just Americans. But yeah, this happened because ANC sold ISCOR, which is a national asset to their Indian manufacturers. Yep. When I was working at ISCOR in the 70s, there were 11,000 people working. Plus, they were training artisans. Now, thanks to ANC, we finally took it down. They're exporting steel. Thanks to ANC, they're destroying everything black natural. What's this? I don't. Yep. This happens. The government allows infrastructure to be destroyed. Yep, 100%. Somebody says, leave South Africa if you can. Yep. All politicians are stupid. Fair enough. Independence Day movie. What's that? I don't know what that has nothing to do with this. Disagree slightly with view on tariffs. Yes, a free market is best, but the problem here is competitive. So in South Africa, apart from our own goals, ESCOM and Transnet, you touched on, you also have many laws enacted to attempt to set a standard for labor laws. China doesn't have these laws. The answer is to remove it. Okay, I'm gonna give a guy a like, but I'm gonna have to come back to this later on. So anyway, all right, that's enough of that. I've read through those comments, so thank you for that. I do appreciate people commenting. And so how are we doing over here? We got poll answers. And so far with 49 votes, so it's a representative sample. 100 would be a better representative sample. We don't have 100 viewers right now. So 69% of the viewers are going with my Gulf of Americas. I think that's the right answer, man. Shutter Island, great movie. I don't know about that, but shuttering a plant is the correct usage of the transitive verb. I used it correctly, okay? Going to wordsmith me? I mean, I may be getting old and maybe having trouble recalling things, but I'm pretty smart cooking. I would buy Equatorial Guinea. No, thank you. You can have Equatorial Guinea and it's malaria. No, thanks. No dengue fever, no malaria, no thank you. Great Gulf Fire of LA. Philip van Niekerk, I've talked about the Los Angeles fires, not in any great detail, but I also showed the map of the areas that are under evacuation warning. By the way, I got snow stuck on my damn panel still because it's 27 degrees. It's not warming up enough. They cleared a little bit yesterday, and I've actually got 2 kilowatt hours already. So hopefully it'll heat up a little bit more and they can melt from underneath, because I'd say about 65-70% of the panels are still covered in snow, and I don't go up on the roof and touch those panels, so I have to wait for the snow to melt them. But yeah, so now I'm looking at 8 days in, I'm only at 70 kilowatt hours. Was doing all right, but 3 days in a row of nothing. Yeah, it's really hurting. So hopefully tonight that stuff will melt because it's sunny outside. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, you can have Equatorial Guinea. I would buy a ticket out of Africa, says Neville Purdon. Well, that was a famous book by Isaac Dinesen, Out of Africa. Has Trump ruled out using military to secure Tuvalu? I don't think Tuvalu is of any interest to us. Easter Island might be. We could turn into a much better resort than it currently is. It's kind of far, though. Anyway, quite a ways off. Quite a ways off. So, Wednesdays. Man, the weeks just fly by, don't they? They really do. All right, I'm going to close the poll. Did we get 50 votes on it at least? Come on. No, 49. So I think that's all it's going to vote. We'll close the poll. There you go. So the Gulf of the Americas wins. So, why didn't it end? What the hell? Oh, that's frozen. That's why. Oh, my goodness. Wow. YouTube at it again. Okay, let me get to my live program. My tab, I had to close it. It wasn't acting properly. So, studio. There we go. By the way, tomorrow I have a special guest on, a gentleman named Orlowitz. We're going to talk about saving Botis lark, an critically endangered bird in South Africa. So feel free to tune in for that tomorrow, a special time. And I will be once again having the Bribros back on. We'll have Byron Shepard back on the program sometime soon, and we'll chat again. I'd be happy to tell him about the name. It should be the Gulf of the Americas. Yep. What would be the first 5 plans with what to do in Greenland? Well, number one, we'd have to build a military base, a permanent military base in Greenland. Let's take a look at the map of Greenland, okay? Pull up Greenland on the map here. Hang on a second. Let me get to that window. Let's go Greenland. Okay, territory. Greenland. Okay, I'm going to get some images. Greenland. There's only about 57,000 people there. Greenland maps. Okay. Greenland map. Let's see what we come up with there. Well, that's not a very good map. That's better. Let's go with that one. Okay. All right. So Greenland. Oh, I can't. It's so tiny. You can't even see it. What the hell is that? Come on, man. Don't do that to me. There we go. That's what I want. The bigger one. There we go. All right. So, yeah, Greenland's kind of a weird place. Let me shrink this down a little bit. It's too big. Minus. There we go. 90%. Okay. So, all right. We do have a base in the north, Thule, but it's a leased base. See up there in the far north, Thule Air Force Base? That is U.S. Air Force Base. But I do believe that we need to have a base on the east coast of Greenland in a space that would be appropriate. I don't know if Danneborg would be a good spot or down further south in Kulisuk. I'm not sure if there's even space for one down there, but one that puts us in a better position. We do have a base at Keflavik in Iceland. But that's just for early warning. This would be a base we could actually pre-position a maritime base. I don't know where the best natural harbor is. It might be on the west coast in Gotthard, which is the capital, or Nuuk, as they say in the indigenous language there. But we do need to have a naval base up there, and we do need to have early warning, and we can go from there. So that's Greenland. Yeah, it is huge. Native birds of Greenland. There aren't many of them. I don't imagine. Tallest mountains in Greenland. Let's take a look at that. That's kind of cool. Native birds. Ptarmigans, I would imagine, to be there. Oh, actually, quite a few. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Red-throated loon, the great cormorant, the common redpoll, the redwing, the snowy owl. There you go. Lapland longspur, the gerfalcon, and northern fulmar, among others. Yeah, cool. Native birds. Tallest mountains. So Greenland, 75% of the country is covered by permanent ice sheet, while the rest of the area is inhabited by humans. Greenland has an average population of 58,000, the least densely populated country in the world. The country occupies an area of 2,166,000 square kilometers, including other minor islands around it. Majority of the country is less than 1,500 meters above sea level. The highest elevation is Gunborn Field at 12,139 feet. The highest mountains in the country includes Gunbjornfjeld, Mount Forel, which is 11,000 feet. Eisenar Mikkelsen Range, 10,700 feet. Anyway, highest point of the Crown Prince Frederick region is, doesn't say how high it is. Anyway, got several mountains over 10,000 feet. That's pretty cool. So, Greenland. What's this? You try to be funny there, Garrett. Why doesn't Trump want South Africa? We have enough problems. That's what's so funny. What is this? Who is this so-called colonel? What does he want? Why is he talking? Why is he here? What is he doing this? You think we really want South Africa, man? Yeah, you were correct, Mike. We're down to one icebreaker, and that's shocking. And I've reported on that story in the past. U.S. has just a single icebreaker. We're an Arctic nation with one icebreaker. This is beyond contemptible that this has been allowed to happen. The neglect for the Coast Guard has been epic. No, Sen is not in Greenland. He's in northern Canada, the North Pole. That's where he's at, not Greenland. Nope. Yeah, Greenland's pretty cool, though, folks. I don't know. I've never been to Greenland. I've been to Iceland. I've been to the Faroes. I've been to the Orkneys. I have not been to Shetland, Svalbard, or Greenland. 3 destinations, all of which I want to get to. Yep. Flies are useless in that they break down animal poop and carcass. Useful. What's the point of mosquitoes, namely? Yeah, there's no point in mosquitoes. They don't help anybody, but flies do. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're correct about that. I can't stand flies, but you're right. They do have a purse. Why does he call me, man? I get this guy calls me, and I'm busy. All right, what I'll do is send him the text to that. Sorry. Okay, so, yeah, I'm getting a message from somebody in Hungary, and he calls me in the middle of my broadcast all the time. Did you stay in, oh, no, you're talking, okay, lots of ice in Greenland. Well, our icebreaker isn't for Greenland. There's no need. The seas around Greenland are not frozen in the south, so we're fine. The icebreaker is for Alaska and the Arctic Passage, Northwest Passage. Does Trump's border czar take office the same day as Trump? Well, Robert, it's not an actual position. There's no actual cabinet or government position of border czar. It's a created position. Like you saw that Kamala Harris was designated as the border czar. She didn't do anything. We've had border czars before. We've had drug czars. Bennett was famous for that. And in the Reagan administration, he was the drug czar. So I'm sure they get paid in the executive budget. But yes, he will have authority from the president granted to him by executive order the day that it becomes president. Because it's not a Senate confirmation position. See, that's the best part. So Tom Homan will not be filling a seat that he must wait to work until the Senate confirms him. No, there's no confirmation there. At least as far as I know there isn't. So he'll just take off and do it. Biz Day story. No, I haven't seen it. I've talked about the collapse of the SANDF, but what's going on Biz Day? Let me go to Biz News and see what's going on. Apparently, John Steenhuisen gave an interview, so let's see. Biz News. South Africa, let's see. Oh, yeah. He was there 4 hours ago. So we got Rob Hersoff. That's from last month. Okay. But YouTube puts all kinds of business stories up there, but they're mostly Rob Hersoff. They don't mention me once at all. Isn't that funny? They even suppress me when I'm a guest on other channels. A couple of my videos are among the best performing videos on Biz News, and they don't show up here. They don't show up here. Wow, so Steenhuisen came on earlier. Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, it was dead years ago. Yep. But I mean, Is it on their website or what? So let's go. Let's see what they got to say. I don't want to steal their content. Good Lord, their opening is very slow.
Well, kicking off the new year on business TV, for me at least, is a conversation with the leader of the opposition and a senior member of the Government of National Unity, John Steenhuisen. John, I guess you could have hoped for a better start to the new year than getting attacked by Action SA. It's becoming clearer and clearer now that Action SA is, well, having a go at the DA, almost like an EFF alternative to the ANC, that Action SA is now becoming an alternative to the DA. I mean, we can talk about that in a moment and your thoughts on that. But let's start with the allegations of you having a, quote, multi-million rand.
Yeah, no, this is silly. Let's see what Steenhuisen's got to say for just a second.
Out the facts, because I noticed that other news outlets like the Daily Maverick, Victoria Regan, and others have chosen to jump on the bandwagon rather than actually examine the facts. So what are the facts, Alex?
Well, that's exactly what I said. And I sent a list of questions to the IOL when they published the story. And to their credit, they did respond to me. They didn't respond to me directly. They just directed me to a news story they published, which published the facts, but still ran with a clickbait headline. So we'll talk about that in my video that's coming up. I'll publish that later this afternoon. Probably, I would say, Ronaldo and I are on from 12 to 1:30. Probably by 9 o'clock or 9:30 South Africa time, that video should be up. It's not the leader of the opposition. I didn't call him the leader of the opposition. Are you talking about Alex Hogue? Yeah, he's not. He's a member of the government. Yep, he's part of the government. They're not in opposition. Yep. Is that who you're talking about? Because I didn't say that. By the way, look, at the last time I threatened to leave this internet service provider last month, and notice how I've had no internet problems since I made those threats. Yeah, he called him that in the intro, yep. My landlady, a black school headmaster, tried to convince me to vote for Herman Mashaba. Now she'd rather shoot him than vote for him. Yeah, well, no, I've got a request into Action SA for comments, but I don't think I'm going to get a response back. So we'll see. But I got a message in. To be fair, my contact in the Action SA has been very responsive in the past, and I'll give the person the benefit of the doubt because they got a lot going on. But hopefully I'll hear back from my contact in Action SA, and maybe they'll be willing to give their comments, because it does appear that the whole role of Action SA is simply to be a foil for the DA. That's what they're trying to be, a foil, not someone that's trying to govern. So no discipline, no respect for officers and non-commissioned officers. Well, it has everything to do with the undermining of officers. I mean, soldiers, black soldiers in SANDF are told that they don't have to listen to the orders of white officers. It happens. They disrespect them entirely. And white officers in frustration, so it's just, the whole thing is just broken. It's sad. The South African Defense Force was the best military on the continent, and arguably one of the better ones on the planet when the ANC took over, and now it's a joke. For a long time, we could say there were still some pockets of excellence, like the Special Forces in Bloemfontein and some of the Air Force and a few in the Navy, but that excellence is gone now too. It's an embarrassment of epic proportions, and it's poorly trained, poorly resourced, and poorly disciplined military. So yeah, absolutely. I've talked about it many, many times, and I've done stories on it. So let me go see if they've got a website with a story there. Biz News. There you go, Business South Africa. Okay, there we go. Let me go to their website. And what do they got here? Peter Mansfield has passed away. Okay. I don't see any story here about the SANDF. Most of their stories are locked. I guess you got to pay for it. So anyway. Yep. News. Let's go to news. That's Africa, not South Africa. So, yeah, most of these stories are all blocked. Anyway, yeah, I don't see anything there, so I didn't see that story. All right, so 85 people here and 75 likes. What's going on there? At least 10 of you haven't hit it. Maybe 40 of you, because people have been in and out of the program. My husband worked there for Murray and Roberts. Okay. Are Angola and Botswana's military better than South Africa's? Yes. I can't attest the current state of the Botswana Defense Force, but from what I know, it's still a professional force and capable. It certainly was when I was in Botswana. It was better than SANDF. And the Angolans are definitely better militarily, yep. He's buying up whole countries. People still do not want to believe we need a free keep. So who's going to win the race to become the 51st state? Well, none of them, Keith. They'll become overseas territories. Canada could become a state. It'll probably become multiple states. Yeah. But no, we're not getting Canada. And we will likely wind up with a negotiated treaty that gives U.S. military bases in the Panama Canal once again and gives us preferential rates. Otherwise, Panama is going to be suffering. Meanwhile, we've got the president of is it Honduras running her mouth, claiming that she's going to make us pay for sending her citizens back to her country who are here illegally. She can get stuffed. She can get stuffed. Her country will collapse without the United States. The Latin America, much of it will collapse. But China is trying to change that dynamic by making Latin America dependent not on America, but on China. And they're having some success. And the Biden regime has been asleep at the wheel and not focusing on Latin America, as was the Trump administration and the Obama administration before that. And as a consequence of nearly 2.5 decades of neglect, the Chinese are making inroads there. Yep, and they are making them fast. So it's really pathetic and sad to see that our governments ignore what our president, James Monroe, declared under the Monroe Doctrine to be our sphere of influence. Yep. Better equipped than old SANDF. Okay, Smee says, would imagine South Africa has better and more military equipment from the old SANDF than Angola and Botswana, but nobody qualified. Most of that equipment is degraded and has been mothballed in storage and is not serviceable. Yeah, that's the problem in South Africa, Smee, again. The legacy of the SADF in the Oryx, in the Cheetahs are gone, replaced by Gripens, which are not operational. The Marine Maritime Services have replaced most of their ship, except for the Drakensberg is still out there. It's the only supply ship that they have. Their Daphne submarines are gone and replaced by Type 209 diesel submarines, which are non-operational, sitting in Simonstown doing nothing. The Army has prime movers and has not received a brand new model of truck since apartheid era. And the Oliphant tanks are British Centurion tanks that are now 50, 60 years old. And the Caspers and the Mambas and the Ruikats, they're also aged. Yeah, it's a total mess. It's a total mess. Total mess. Yep. Is Argentina pro-U.S. and doing the right thing? Yeah, that's true. They are. What is the best sub-Saharan African military as of now? Well, I mean, let's go sub-Saharan, okay? Let's not say... Oh, you did say sub-Saharan. I'm sorry. You said sub-Saharan. Good point, Pablo Charlie. Best militaries in Africa right now, sub-Saharan, Botswana, Angola, Rwanda. I won't say Ethiopia. I won't say Nigeria. Who else has got a good military? Let's see. That's kind of it. Yep. Yeah, no maritime surveillance or support. Well, they relied forever on the C-47s, the Dakotas, and then they crashed them, and then they neglected them. The C-47 Dakota fleet is finally, I've confirmed, grounded. They're not being used anymore by the South African military, which is sad. The DC-3, the C-47, which is the military version of the DC-3, is an iconic aircraft. It's absolutely amazing. It's what, I mean, there are still some in the air. Let me see if I can find how many DC-3s are still flying. How many DC-3s? DC-3 are still flying. Yep. The number of DC-3 still flying varies by source, but estimates range from 164 to 400. Yeah, somebody says it's estimated 150 are still flying. Wow. The plane that won't quit, celebrating the Douglas DC-3. It's still getting the job done 90 years later. Wow. This is a story in and of itself. More than 13,000 were built, military and civilian. Yep. Many are still flying. Yep. Here you go. This is an incredible aircraft, an iconic aircraft. How many DC-3s are still flying? Stupid adverts. Let's get rid of that. Okay, there you go. So this story was from 2023. Ruggedness and reliability make it popular in developing countries, and it can easily land on grass and dirt runways. Yep. Although there are no longer regularly scheduled passenger flights on the aircraft, you can still enjoy flights on private charter planes in New Zealand, the Netherlands, and Sweden. Will never die. For an aircraft built before the Second World War, you'd be forgiven for assuming most would have been retired. So imagine our surprise when we discovered one had suffered a runway excursion in Colombia in 2020. So they took a look at it. There you go. The bulk of the operational G3 fleet is in North America. 89 registrations are thought to be active in the U.S., with a further 19 in Canada. Australia is home to 6, while South Africa has 16 registers active. UK has just 3. Wow. There's one in Switzerland. Swiss Air. The plane that won't quit, celebrating the Douglas DC-3. This is from 2023. Wow. Most important airplane of all time, including the original Wright Flyer that flew 120 years ago. There you go. It's an original Douglas sleeper transport DC-3 from the 1930s. You can tell because of the little windows on top above the main passenger. That was a sleeper version. Douglas DC-3 still getting the job done 89 years later. All right, folks, I got to wrap up and go. It's time to go join Ronaldo. All right, so thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. We appreciate you being here. And we'll talk more about the DC-3, which is a great inspiration. I love the aircraft, the Dakota. And the Navy's an embarrassment to play pace. Always reminds me of Harry Truman. 2 civilian DC-3s flying out of Rand Airport until 2012, says Arctic. Okay. Lockheed Constellation, the most beautiful design. Okay, well, that's an interesting aircraft, too. All right, the Electra is also an interesting one, too. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for being here. And we'll see you on Ronaldo in just a few minutes, okay? Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Don't forget to hit the like button. Hit the like button.